العالمين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدي وحبيبي ونور قلبي وثمرة فؤادي أبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الهاديين المهديين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعجل فرجهم. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في محكم تنزيل: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا أقسم بيوم القيامة ولا أقسم بالنفس اللوامة أيحسب الإنسان أن لن نجمع عظامه بلى قادرين على أن نسوي بنانه بل يريد الإنسان ليفجر أمامه صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعجل فرجهم. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Inshallah, in continuation of our series of Usool-e-Deen. As you remember, we talk about the first one, which is At-Tawheed, and then the second one, which is Al-Adl. But tonight, I want to go to Al-Qiyamah and then come back to Al-Nubuwah and Imamah, inshallah. Al-Qiyamah is one of the Usool-e-Deen. And this Qiyamah is one of the most important of Usool-e-Deen as well. And if you recall, we mentioned before that Usool-e-Deen actually is three. Two are known as Usool al-Madhab. The actually three is At-Tawheed, which is the unity of Allah. Number two is Al-Nubuwah. Number three is Al-Qiyamah. Now what happened to the other two? Al-Adl and Al-Imamah, they call it Usool al-Madhab, because they both are part of one another, one of these three, one way or another. But Qiyamah is one important Usool al-Deen, and that is why when you go to the entire Quran, the most mentioned day in the Quran is Yawm al-Qiyamah. The most mentioned day in the Quran is Yawm al-Qiyamah. Inshallah, I'll give you some tips about some of the names in the Quran about the Day of Judgment. And every one of those names comes to describe and something that will happen on that day. For example, Yawm al-Qiyamah, right? Qiyamah comes from the word Qiyam, meaning the day of standing. Because Yawm al-Qiyamah, there will be a very long standing. And that is one of the things that will happen on that day. The narration says people will stand on that day on their feet to the point where they will get sweat, and the sweat will become a river. They will be swimming from it. And that is why it's called Qiyamah. The word Qiyam means standing. The ta in Arabic is called Mubalagha, meaning many years of standing, to the point where even the kuffar, the non-believers, they will get frustrated of standing to the point where they will go to the angel of Yawm al-Qiyamah. It's called Malik. They say, Malik, we have stand enough. Tell Allah to judge us. Whether we go into hellfire or heaven, it doesn't matter at this point. Why? Because we have stood for so long. Now that angel Malik, you know, Allah created him, and Allah never put even a drop of mercy in his heart. He doesn't know something called smiling. MashaAllah, today when you go to the stores, you want the person to smile at your face, right? Now, Yawm al-Qiyamah, Malik, he doesn't have anything called smile, right? And Quran says, when they approach him and they ask him, Ya Malik liyaqdi alayna rabbuk. Tell Allah to judge us, send us to hell or heaven. Doesn't matter at this point. What will be his response? Quran stated, Malik will respond to people, Kalla innakum makithun. Don't even talk to me. Keep standing. That is why Qiyamah is called Qiyamah, because they will be a long standing on that day. That's number one. Number two, one of the names is called Yawmul Fasl, the day of separation. See, in this world, Munafiq, Kafir, Mu'min, we're all together. You can't tell. We all come to the masjid. Munafiq comes, they pray, Allahu Akbar, Sami Allah liman hamida. A Mu'min, true believer, we cannot distinguish one another. Right? But Yawm al-Qiyamah, automatically we will be divided. How? Not Allah's going to come and divide Munafiq. No, no. Yawm al-Qiyamah, people will be notified by their face. As soon as you see a person, a mu'min, you look at them, you know this is a bad person. A mu'min, you know this is a mu'min. It's obvious Yawm al-Qiyamah. And Quran stated them. Because Yawm al-Qiyamah, there are only two groups and that's it. One group are called Mu'minun. In Surah Al-Waqi'ah, Ashabul Maymana. The second group, Ashabul Mash'ama. When this was right wingers and the left wingers, right? Yeah. Now they will be separated that way. Now for Mu'mineen, how do you identify them? Quran mentioned, you will identify them by two signs. Number one, the nur of their face. That is one. Number two, the sign of the sajda on their forehead. That is two. Al-Kafir, how do you identify them? And this is mentioned in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated about the Mu'mineen and said, Simahum fi wujuhihim min athar as-sujud in Surah At-Tawbah. Allah said, when you see them, the sign of the Mu'mineen can be shown on their face. How do you tell that? It's a min athar as-sujud. At the sign of the sajda, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it to be a point of nur yawm al-qiyamah. That is a mu'min. Now al-kafir, how do we identify them? Also by their face. Quran stated, يُعْرَفُ الْمُجْرِمُونَ بِسِيمَاهُمْ فَيُؤْخَذُ بِالنَّوَاسِي وَالْأَقْدَامِ. The angels, when they come, they don't need to tell, oh, you are kafir, I'm a mu'min, you are mu'min, I'm a kafir. No. When they look at the face, they see a kafir. Then they go, where do they grab them from? And nawasi, right at the forelock here. That's where they grab. And then where? Wal akdam, and their feet. They hold the forehead and then the feet. Like, I don't know if you've seen how they put animal to slaughter a cow. They make sure that they put them together like this without a comparison. But that's what the Quran said about the kuffar yawm al-qiyamah. Now the question, Ya Rab, why don't they grab them from the waist? Why from here? Here is the reason. Because the most precious, important part of your body is your forehead. That's why we put this important part of our body on the least thing on the planet, on the earth, to show our humbleness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Kuffar, since they refuse to do that, now Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah wants to grab them from that part of the body to show their humility to them, disrespect to them. That's why Quran says, فَيُؤْخَذُ بِالنَّوَاسِي وَالْأَقْدَامِ. And Surah Al-Alaq, it said, نَاصِيَةٍ كَاذِبَةٍ. Nasiyah is the forelock that they will be taken from. Now that day is called Yawm al-Fasl because that day they will be separated. Mu'minun will be here and Kuffar will be the other side. That's what's called Yawm al-Fasl. That's not name number two. Name number three is called Yawm al-Hasra, the day of grief. Every one of us will be in the grief except Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, and even including the prophets. Except Ahlul Bayt and the Prophet Muhammad, these are the only ones who will not have grief. Because the narration mentioned that Yawm al-Qiyamah, when it happened, every nation will come together, and awwaleen and akhirin, we all come together, and then we will go to Prophet Adam alayhi salam. Ya Adam, you are our father. We want you to intervene between us and Allah. Ask Allah to do something for us. Adam will say, you know what? I'm your father, but I am shy to face Allah myself today. You are Ma'soom, you are prophet. He say, yes, I am. But I have did something called Tark Bab al-Awla. So I feel shy to face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what should we do, Adam? Then Adam will send us to another prophet, Idris alayhi salam. Idris, every one of them has something they have done that they cannot face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Until we get to Isa alayhi salam, then we say, yes, I have also a problem. What is the problem? He said, my followers, my people took me as God, that today I have to also free myself in front of Allah. So I can. What should we do? Then he sent us to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That is, that day, Prophet Muhammad will be the only one. When we go to him, he will say, Ana laha, ana laha, ana laha 3 times. Today is my day. Today is my day. Today is my day. And other than the Prophet and the Imam, every one of us, Prophet, Mu'mineen, every one of us will be in sorrow of that day. And that's why it's called Yawmul Hasra, the day of grief. That is name number 3. Name number 4, and all this in the Quran, name number 4 is called Yawmul Nadama. Number 3. Name number 4, and all this in the Quran, name number 4 is called Yawmul Nadama, the day of regretness. Yawmul Qiyamah is every one of us will regret. A mu'min will regret, a kafir will regret. Okay, a kafir we know, because he's going to hellfire. Okay, a mu'min what? He's going to heaven. Yes, he will regret. Every one of us will regret Yawm al-Qiyamah. Now the regret of kafir is obvious, because he didn't do what he's supposed to do. As for mu'min, when he sees the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his position, then he said, I wish I knew this is my reward Yawm al-Qiyamah. I would have done more than what I've done. That's the name Nadama. That when he looks at his position, his blessing that Allah has prepared, and he said, Allahu Akbar, had I know, I would have done Salatul Layl more. I would have given Sadaqah more than what I did. I have done, I would have, but it's too late. It's regretting, but the regret is okay. Because even though the person is regretting, but he has something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is Yawmul Nadama. That is number 4. Number 5 is called Yawma Ya'addu Dhalimu Ala Yaday. The day oppressors will chew and bite their fingers. What does he mean? Biting finger? Have you seen students in the classroom? When they test it and they can't get the answer. What do? They put the pencil in their mouth, eating. What is it? Like, wow, I wish I've studied. I wish I've memorized. But what is it? It's another form of regret. Allah said, Al-Zalim, Yawm al-Qiyamah, they will also bite their finger. For what? For all what they have done. And here when we say Al-Zalim, usually sometimes we think Al-Zalim is the person who have oppressed others, killed, prison. No. Al-Zalim could be you and I too. Because Al-Zalim means what? A person who doesn't put things on where they belong to. When I commit sin, I'm Zalim too. So don't think Zalim that maybe somebody president of any country. No. Yes, he is one of them. But you and I can be one of them too. When we commit sin, we are Zalim too. That is why in the Quran, Adam alayhi salam, when he committed eating the tree, what did he say? Rabbana zalamna anfusana. Zalamna. We did oppress whom? Ourselves. So whenever you commit sin, you are Zalim too. So when we say Yawma Ya'addu Zalim, it could be any one of us. If we happen to do any sin, we are Zalim. Unless if we truly repent to Allah. That's different. That is why it's called Yawma Ya'addu Zalim. The day that oppressors in every level. Because I mentioned before, we have 3 kinds of oppression. There is oppression of Allah. You oppress Allah. Yes, we can oppress Allah. Don't think that oppression is not to be somebody stronger, somebody weaker. No. Sometimes a weaker can oppress somebody stronger. Have you seen sometimes a children in the house? Right? A little child and the older child. Right? The little child knows that anytime he screams, the mom is going to come and hit the other older child. So even if the older child touches him, he screams so hard. And you think that, mashallah, the older brother hit him, and then you come and you hit this one for no reason. You not knowing that he is oppressing his older brother, right? Now, Yawm al-Qiyamah, there is another form of this oppression. We oppress Allah. How do we oppress Allah? When we fail when we take Allah and something as a partners. You read in Surah Al-Luqman. Luqman is telling his son, Ya bunayya la tushrik billah. My son, don't associate Allah with something. Why? Now listen to the ayah. Inna shirka la dhulmun azim. When you associate Allah with something, you're doing dhulm to Allah. That's one of the dhulm. So this is called shirk too. So a shirk also is called dhulm. You're doing injustice to Allah. You're oppressing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by doing shirk to Allah. And this shirk come different forms, right? Sometimes you put an idol, you're doing ibadah to them. That's shirk. And sometimes you're worshipping Allah for something else. That's also shirk. Because there are three forms of shirk. One form, Allah said, I would never forgive it. And that is one. When you put an idol or human or animal or anything to be a god other than Allah, that's a shirk. Allah said, I will never forgive. But there's another shirk. Allah said, I will forgive that. And that is when you and I worship Allah because we want to go heaven. Now Allah is not in the picture anymore. I want to go to heaven, yes. Where's Allah? Yeah, we worship Allah, but the aim is heaven. That's a shirk. But Allah said, this shirk, I'll take it. Or sometimes we worship Allah because we don't want to go to have hellfire. It's a shirk too. But this shirk, Allah said what? Allah said, I accept it. That is called shirk. Another shirk also is called shirkun khafi. It's an oppression to Allah. What is it? For example, when you are trying to show off in the public. Especially when we are in front of our in-laws. My mother-in-law, my dad-in-law, I want to show them, mashallah, how mu'min I am. Right? For marrying their daughter, their son. What happened? In the public, Allahu Akbar takes 10 minutes. Right? Surah Al-Fatiha takes 35 minutes. Salat al-Dhuhr, mashallah, 45 minutes. And ruku, Allah, subhan, every dhikr have to come in there. My ruku go very slow so that I can impress people. Look, I'm a mu'min, see? That's how I am. It's a shirk. And this, guess what? It doesn't have any reward in front of Allah. Yawm al-Qiyamah, when the person comes, they look their book and it's absolutely white, nothing is written there. Because it's shirk. Allah doesn't accept that. Now all these are considered dhulm to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah is supposed to be worshipped just alone and not to be associated with anything. That is why it's called on the day of judgment, yawma ya'addu al-zalim. That is another name. Another name also in Surah Abbas, yawma yafirru al-mar'u min akhih. The day that brother will be running away from his brother. And this world, mashallah, we get together, we laugh, we chat, we laugh, we do everything together. Yawm al-Qiyamah is not going to be the same. Yawm al-Qiyamah, one of the names is yafirru al-mar'u min akhi. We will be running from one another. A husband will be running away from his wife. A father from his son. A father from his daughter. A daughter from his father. Every one of us will be running away from each other. Why? Here's the reason. Because Yawm al-Qiyamah, Quran said, لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مِّنْهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ شَأْنٌ يُغْنِي. My problem is enough. I don't want my dad to come and say, son, I need 1 ajr to go to heaven. Can you give me 1 ajr? Say, Daddy, I need that 1 ajr too. Can you give me that 1 ajr? No. So instead of confronting my dad to say no to him, I better take different route. Right? Because I don't want him to ask me. That's what Quran said, يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ. We'll be running away from one another. That is one of the names of Yawm al-Qiyamah. Another name of Yawm al-Qiyamah is called Yawm al-Taghabun, the day of lost. When you go, you buy things, you sell, you come home, now you have to account and see, okay, how much did I get, how much did I lose, right? Yawm al-Qiyamah is called Yawm al-Taghabun because it's the day that some people will lose, some people will gain. Taghabun. Al-Ghabun is lose and gain Yawm al-Qiyamah. Because who will be gaining Yawm al-Qiyamah? The mu'mineen. Who will be losing? Those who didn't do anything for themselves. That's what's called Yawm al-Taghabun. These are some of the names of Yawm al-Qiyamah. There are many of them that Quran mentioned, and these are some of them, a drop out of the ocean of these names of the Yawm al-Qiyamah. Now when we say Yawm al-Qiyamah, how does it start? And when does it start? Here Quran talks about how does it start. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about how it starts when the angel called Israfil. You know, Allah created angels and all of them have their responsibility. One angel is called Israfil. This Israfil, Allah created him and his job is to blow a horn twice. The first one is to indicate the end of this world. That is one. Number two, to indicate also the beginning of Yawm al-Qiyamah. What happened? The Quran says, فَإِذَا نُفِخَ فِي السُّورِ. When Allah gave him permission, the angel Israfil, and he blows the horn. What happened? The day of Qiyamah start. How does it start? Another surah, Surah Al-Hajj, explains. Number one, the first thing that indicates about the end of this world is earthquake. Earthquake? Yes. Where? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, see, we have two kinds of earthquake. Some earthquake that we have seen so far, it happened in one part of the world. Doesn't it? Yeah. But for Yawm al-Qiyamah, no. It happened to entire part of the globe. You read in Surah Al-Zalzala. إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ. Al-Ard means the entire globe have to shake. How much? Zilzalaha. Everything have to shake. Real shaking. That's the beginning. That's one of the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah. If that happen, what is next? That will happen again in Surah Al-Hajj. Allah says, اقتربت الساعة, when the day of judgment is closer, and Allah makes the angel to blow the horn, and the earth shakes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَتَرَى النَّاسَ سُكَارًا. You see people are acting like they're drunk. But are they drunk? Allah said, no. وَمَا هُمْ بِسُكَارًا. Allah said, they are not drunk. لَكِنَّ أَذَابَ اللَّهِ شَدِيدٌ. Allah said, the reason why they act like drunk, because the difficulty of the day of judgment. That is another thing that will happen Yawm al-Qiyamah. As soon as they blow the horn, the air shakes, every person will be going left and right, front and back. As the difficulty of that day, people will lose their mind. That is number two. Number three, Quran mentioned, is the day that when a child is born, they will be born with gray hair. As soon as they arrive this world, the hair turns to gray. Why? Quran mentioned, يَوْمَ يَجْعَلُ الْوِلْدَانُ شِيبًا. A sheep means gray hair. Yawm al-Qiyamah, a child is born, he hasn't done anything. He hasn't committed any sin, doesn't have anything to worry about. But the difficulty of Yawm al-Qiyamah makes his hair gray. Most of the reason why our hair turns gray, not because of age, sometimes because of stress, right? When you look at the reason why people get gray hair, one of the causes is what? Stress. Now, Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah said, the child, as soon as he gets born, the stress of that day will make his entire hair to turn to white, gray. Because of the difficulty of that day. يَجْعَلُ الْوِلْدَانُ شِيبًا. That is another sign. Another sign about the day of judgment, Quran said, that when that day happened, Yawm al-Qiyamah, وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا. Everything that ever been buried in the ground will come out. Everything that you can think of. Humans, jinn, including some precious thing. Gold and diamond, they will come too. Everything. And that's one of the also punishment. That you will see a gold, but you will not even dare to go and take it. Today we fight each other on gold and ions and everything, right? Because it's worth money. Yawm al-Qiyamah, you will see it, but you cannot even get close to it. Why? Because you're thinking about something that is more important. Let me give you an example. If a person gets injured, right? There is a bigger injury here, and then there is a tiny scratch. Which one are you going to think about? The scratch or the bigger injury? Yawm al-Qiyamah, this gold and diamond is nothing, because you're thinking about something that is more important. You pass by them, but you're not even there to care about them. That is Yawm al-Qiyamah. Yawm al-Qiyamah, one of the things that will happen, Quran says, when the angel Israfil blows the horn, then every one of us, every being that ever lived on the planet, will all come to life again. All of us, jinn, angels, humans, including animals too. Qiyamah is not just for humans and jinn. Even animals, they have Qiyamah too. And Quran says in Surah Al-Takwir, وَإِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ. Al-Wuhush, animal. Allah says, will bring them back too. To do what? They have their own hisab too. Now after Allah makes a hisab of those animals, then Allah tells them to turn to dust. And you read Surah Al-Naba. When Allah turned them to dust, a kafir sees that, and you read Surah Al-Naba, وَيَقُولُ الْكَافِرُ يَا لَيْتَنِي كُنْتُ تُرَابًا. I wish I am turned to dust like those animals. But then Allah said, no, you're not going to be turned to dust, because you have long life to go. That's human. So Yawm al-Qiyamah, one of the things that happen, after the horn is blown, we all come out. Allahu Akbar. But when we come out, one of the things to remember, we will come out with no clothes on. Imam Zayn al-Abidin in dua, he mentioned, Abki l'khuruj qabri uryanan. I'll get out of the grave with no clothes on. He said, that is the reason why I'm crying Yawm al-Qiyamah. That is why Imam Zayn al-Abidin, anytime he reads Surah Al-Fatiha and he gets to Maliki Yawmiddin, the narration say he passes out, because he knows the difficulty of that day. You and I, we read Maliki Yawmiddin, yes, the king of the day, so what? Because we don't understand the difficulty of that day, Yawm al-Qiyamah. Now that day, what happened? The narration says, after we come from our grave, there will be millions of angels already. And what do? They will turn all of us to where it's called Ardul Mahshar, the gathering place. Where is that? That is in heaven. In Surah Al-Naba, وَفُتِحَتِ السَّمَاءُ فَكَانَتْ أَبْوَابًا. The entire heaven that you see today will be turned to doors that we will be walking through it. And we will be matched by angels. And how? Every nation will put them together. لكل أمة, every nation, the nation of Prophet Muhammad, the nation of Prophet Yunus, the nation of Prophet Adam, the nation of Prophet Hud, Yahya, Zakaria, in groups, and us we are standing in a group. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make us stand there for years and years and years. And then the hisab starts Yawm al-Qiyamah. Yawm al-Qiyamah, brothers and sisters, there are three kinds of hisab. There will be three kinds of hisab. But don't think that it's going to take too long. No. Allah said in the Quran, Wallahu sari'ul hisab. Allah said, I'm quick in accountability. It doesn't take long. There is one hisab. It's called hisabul nafs. We all do hisab for ourselves, Yawm al-Qiyamah. How do we do that? See, Yawm al-Qiyamah, before we go to Yawm al-Qiyamah, let me take you back and then come back to this point. Yawm al-Qiyamah, when we die, as soon as we get put in the grave, every one of us, there will be two angels, Munkar and Nakir. When they come to the grave, what do? Then they tell you, as the deceased, they say, go ahead and write your a'mal. What did you do? From the day you become baligh till the day you die. And then you said, I don't have any pen. They said, your finger is your pen. I said, okay, but I don't have any paper. I said, your kafan is your paper. So I don't have any ink. I said, put your hand in your mouth and anything your finger touches is your ink. Then he does, and then he takes his kafan. As soon as the finger touches the kafan, everything that you have done, it comes back to the memory. يَوْمَ يَتَذَكَّرُ الْإِنسَانُ مَا سَعَى. Allah said, the day a man will remember everything he did. Everything, and I mean everything. Things that you never even thought that is important, you're not going to be asked for, you forgot about, it all comes in the memory. Then you write them from beginning, the day you become baligh, till the day you depart from this world. After you finish, then they'll take it from you. Then what do? Then they wrap it. And then they put the hole in it. They put like a necklace, and then they put it on the neck. And the Quran mentioned in Surah Al-Fussilat, it says, Allah said in that ayah, وَنُخْرِجُ لَهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ كِتَابًا يَلْقَاهُ مَنْشُورًا وَكُلَّ إِنسان, the beginning of the ayah, وَكُلَّ إِنسان, this is not just you and I, every human being, وَكُلُّ إِنسان, every human being, أَلْزَمْنَاهُ طَائِرَهُ فِي أُنُقِهِ. Allah said we put him the necklace on his neck, right? وَنُخْرِجُ لَهُ, Allah said we take it off يوم القيامة كِتَابًا, and it becomes a book. يَلْقَاهُ, he will see it manshura. It's all organized, passed in the order. Now what happened? After Allah gives you the book, then Allah said, اقرأ كتابك, and do your own hisab. That's called hisab al-nafs. Then you read your book. Yes, on this day, at this time, at this place, I have done this. That is hisab al-nafs. Yawm al-Qiyamah, you and I, we know, I'm a heaven person or hellfire person. That's called hisab al-awwal. Hisab number 2 is called hisab al-malaika. The angels will do hisab too. Question and answer. What did you do? Why did you do this? Why didn't you do that? They will question you. After we finish with the angels, then there is the last hisab. It's called hisabullah. You have to face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah has to account you. That you have to stand in front of Allah and read everything that you have done. And if the person is one of those who are lucky, Allah might forgive or might not forgive. He might or he might not. It's up to him. That is one of the process of Qayamat. Now after this, before you even get to this part, there are 3 groups of people. The way we will be given our book, when they take it out, some people, Quran says, they will give their book with the right hand. The angel will come and say, this is your book in the right hand. فَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِيَمِينِهِ فَسَوْفَ يُحَاسَبُ حِسَابًا يَسِيرًا. If you are given your book with the right hand, Quran says that means your accountability will be easy. Very easy. That is group number 1. Group number 2. وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِشِمَالِهِ فَسَوْفَ يُحَاسَبُ حِسَابًا عَسِيرًا. If the angel comes and gives the book with the left hand, that means my accountability is going to be the tough one. Now you think that's tough? It's not a tough one. In the Quran, in Surah Al-Inshiqaq, Allah said, وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ وَرَاءَ ظَهْرِهِ. Some people, their book will be given through their back. Not straight on the left hand. No, because they are the worst of the groups. So their book is not going to be behind the left or right. No, they will be behind through the back. Quran says, وَرَاءَ ظَهْرِهِ. That's how they're going to give their book. And then when they get their book, the Quran says, فَسَوْفَ يَدْعُوا ثُبُورًا. The person will start screaming. Because he or she knows that he has failed. Now, after you get your hisab, what happened? Yawm al-Qiyamah. Then, there is something called Sirat. And the Quran is mentioned in Surah Al-Kahf. وَإِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا كَانَ عَلَى رَبِّكَ حَتْمًا مَقْضِيًّا. No one can escape it. Sirat is a path, it's like a bridge. But underneath, there is hellfire. With all the levels. Right? Now, as you pass the hisab Allah, you have to cross the Sirat. If you a person is a mu'min, then you can cross to the heaven. If the person is a kafir, they have to go to hellfire. As they walk on the Sirat, then they slip and fall in the level of the Jahannam that they deserve. Because you know the Jahannam is different. Right? It's not one. No. In the Quran, there is Hawiya, there is Hotama, there is Sa'ir, there is Saqar. And what is amazing? Every one of the level, you have to do something to go to one level or another. Now let me give you an example. There is someone called Sa'ir. Sa'ir is a level of hellfire Allah has specified. For those who eat the money of orphans wrongly. Somebody died and left children and left them with money. I take care of them, but half of them go to me. The other half is for the children. Sometimes I don't give them anything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated in Surah An-Nisa, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ أَمْوَالَ الْيَتَامَى ظُلْمًا. Those who are eating the money of orphan unjustly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَسَيَسْلَوْنَ سَعِيرًا. Allah said they will taste sa'ir yawm al-qiyamah. Another level is called Saqar. Saqar, may Allah protect all of us from Saqar. Saqar, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا Saqar. Quran says, have you any knowledge about Saqar? Allah says, لَا تُبْقِي وَلَا تَذَرْ. When a person is thrown in there, Quran says it burns and doesn't leave anything. But guess what? Who goes to Saqar? The beauty of the Quran is that when it tells you anything, it tells you what do you need to do to go there. Heaven, it tells you different levels too. What do you need to do to go to that level of heaven? Every one of them. So everything is clear. Now who goes to hellfire, Saqar? Allah says people who have four qualities. Bad qualities. Number one, people who don't pray. If a person doesn't do salat, now their position is where? Saqar. قَالُوا مَا سَلَكَكُمْ فِي سَقَرٍ قَالُوا لَمْ نَكُ مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ. We didn't used to pray. Person who doesn't pray, their position is Saqar. That's number one. Group number two will go into that hellfire. Quran says, وَلَمْ نَكُ نُطْعِمُ الْمِسْكِينَ. I have it. A poor person is asking, but I still don't give them. I don't pay my dues. Somebody I know they need it. They come asking, I don't give them. Allah said that is also the position of the person. Number three, وَلَمْ وَكُنَّا نَخُوضُ مَعَ الْخَائِضِينَ. They just go with the flow. Today we want to do this. Okay, let's go do it. Haram and halal doesn't care. Allah said that is where they're going. Saqar. وَكُنَّا. Number four, وَكُنَّا نُكَذِّبُ بِيَوْمِ الدِّينِ. They think Yawm al-Qiyamah is lie. It's just a story. It's not a fiction. Nothing is going to happen about Qiyamah. These four things, Allah said, end the person into hellfire called Saqar. And so many of them, that is Yawm al-Qiyamah. And if the person is mu'min, also there are many levels. Inshallah, someday I will talk about different levels of the hell of heaven and what do you need to go there. But before I go there, let me just mention one. The worst part of the hellfire is called Darak al-Asfal min al-Nar. A dark, see, there are two levels in Islam. If your person is doing good, as he going up, in Quran is called Darajat. Darajat means going up. If the person is doing bad things, which takes him down, in Quran is called Darakat. Darajat versus Darakat. Darakat, you're going down and down. Darajat is going higher and higher. Now, if a person is the worst person who goes to the bottom of the hellfire, are the munafiqin. Inna al-munafiqin, in Surah An-Nisa, Inna al-munafiqina fi darki al-asfali min al-nar. They are the worst one to be punished. Yawm al-Qiyamah. People will double face. That is that one. But now come to the level of mu'minin also. A mu'min, when a person is a mu'min, Yawm al-Qiyamah, as they come to cross the bridge to go to heaven, Quran says there are people in different levels. Some mu'minin, they will cross as faster as light. You can't even see them. Before they come, they're gone. That's it. كَالْبَرْقِ الْخَافَتِ. The Quran narration said, like a light. That's how fast they go. Some people when they come, they go fast as airplane. Some people when they come, they go as fast as train or cars. Some people, they come walking. Some people, they crawl on that path. And let me tell you, how does that thing? Don't think it's like 495 bridges here. No. And say, mashallah, it's going to be wide, so I don't have to worry about. No. The hadith of the prophecy, adakku min ash-sha'r, is thinner than your hair. When you take your hair, when you put it like this, just one hair, right? The rest is even thinner than that. And that is what every one of us have to cross. Now you're going to say, I'm going to buy a rope and do some trying magic. No, brother, it's not going to work. Yawm al-Qiyamah, it's about your iman. If the iman is stronger, don't worry about it. You cross it, you don't even feel that you cross anything. If there is no iman, there is nothing you can do. Because Yawm al-Qiyamah is all about action. And a'mal is what counts Yawm al-Qiyamah. A mu'min, when they go, there's also different levels of Jannah. There is one called Jannatul Ma'wa. There is Jannatul Na'im. Then there is Jannatul Adn. Then there is Jannatul Firdaus. And Allahu Akbar. Let me just show one of them. Jannatul Firdaus. How can you end there? Quran mentioned in Surah Al-Mu'minun, you have to do 5 things. If you want to go to hell, have a heaven called Jannatul Firdaus, Allah said 5 things. Number 1, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. Those who are humble in their salat when they stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What do you mean khasha? Not khasha that I'm standing there in front of Allah but my mind is at my job, my food. No. Al-khushu, may they know in front of whom they're standing. That is quality number 1. Number 2, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. Those who observe their promises. When you go to heaven, you promise anyone, mu'min or kafir, it doesn't matter. Keeping promise is very important in Islam. Because sometimes, some of us, we think that, no, he's a kafir, who cares? So I have to concern about mu'min. No. In Islam, it matters. A kafir, atheist, I promise something, Islam say fulfill for him. If you don't, Islam say you are not a mu'min. A mu'min is supposed to keep their promises as much as they can. That is number 2. Number 3, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ. See here, brothers, it's amazing. Every one of us, we have 2 relationships. One relationship, we sometimes ignore and take care of one. But Allah said, I want you to take 2 relationships. One is your relationship with Allah. And that is, فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. When they stand in front of Allah, they are humble, they are fearful of Allah. That is one. That is between you and Allah. Allah said, after you're done with this, Allah said, I want you to take care of your relationship with the other human beings as well. Every one of us, also you are responsible towards them. Your neighbor is your responsibility. Yawm al-Qiyamah, you have to answer Allah. Your wife is your responsibility. How you live with them. Your wife, your children, your in-laws, they are our responsibility. Yawm al-Qiyamah, you have to answer Allah about them. A place of your work, how do you treat your co-workers? All this is counted. Allah said also take care of them. Those who are needy among them, you should take care of them. There is one bold statement of one of the scholars, Ayatollah Al-Ankarani. He mentioned one bold statement that myself, anytime I hear it, it scares me. But he said it. What did he say? He said, let me tell you this. To all the mu'mineen. He said, do 2 things and don't worry about anything else. Number 1, he said, take care of your wajibat. And 2, he said, take care of your other people. Help people as much as you can. He said, other than this, don't worry about anything. If you go Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah asks you, he said, tell Allah that Lankarani told me. Can you think a man making this statement? This is a marja. Ayatollah saying this. He said, you do this wajib and then take care of humans. After that, Yawm al-Qiyamah, you go to Allah. Allah asks you, why didn't you do mustahab? He said, don't worry. Tell Allah, Lankarani told me to do that. Let me take that responsibility. You know what that means? It means that serving people is very important in the sight of Allah. After your wajibat. And that was the job of our imams. Imam Zayn al-Abidin, every night he goes after Salatul Layl, he goes knocking people's door. Who needs help? Food, clothes. What is it? He's helping people. Imam Ali alayhi salam, every night he used to go to the orphans, widows, helping them. Why? Because this is the most important job. After you do your wajibat, Allah wants you to serve other human beings. That was the job of imams. This is very important. That is why in Surah Al-Mu'minun, Allah, after He mentioned as-salat and zakat, and then He said, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ, they take care of responsibility among themselves. Another one is what? They take care of also one another. Number 4, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ أَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ. Allah said, those who also, they stay away from vain talk. Which in tafsir, some of us call this al-lagwi means music, bad language, bad company. Anything that is not useful, not for your life in this world or hereafter, is called lagwi. Stay away from it. It's just waste of time. That is number 4. Number 5, Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. Those who guard their private parts. Allah said, if you do these 5 things, Allah said, أُولَٰئِكَ يَرِثُونَ الْجَنَّةَ الْفِرْدَوْسِ. Allah said, those are the ones who will inherit Firdaus Yawm al-Qiyamah. That is one of the heavens, Then there is Jannat Adil and so on and so on. But the point is, Yawm al-Qiyamah, there are 2 groups. So some of us will go to heaven, and some of us will be going to hellfire. Now there are many to talk about it. But now let's come to the logic of the Yawm al-Qiyamah. Why do we need Yawm al-Qiyamah? Logic speaking. Why wouldn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us, live here, no Jannah, nothing? Here's the answer. Number 1, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He created this world, Allah didn't create this world to be a place of staying. Allah created this world to be a place of working, and then the place of receiving your check is Yawm al-Qiyamah. You and I, when we go to work, it doesn't matter whatever company you work in, you get your check. Do you cash there, or you go to Waqf and Wells Fargo's? Bank of America, right? You take your check from the company, and then you have to deposit somewhere else. Meaning the place where you work is something, and then where you cash your check is somewhere else. Now, Yawm al-Qiyamah is the same thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, here is the world of action. Yawm al-Qiyamah is payday, where you cash your check. That's the wisdom of Yawm al-Qiyamah. Number 2, see, brothers and sisters, a lot of people, if there is no Qiyamah, the world or the life is useless. How? You know, there's a lot of people who commit crime and they don't get caught. True or false? Yes. How many people? They kill people, they steal, but they can't get caught. Right? Now those people, if there is no Qiyamah, what happened to the person that who was robbed, or the deceased that get killed? That means they have been put into problem that the person, the criminal, will never be brought to justice. But Yawm al-Qiyamah gives you and I a surety, guarantee. Yes, even if he or she didn't get caught here, but he will be caught there Yawm al-Qiyamah. So Yawm al-Qiyamah, it gives you a guarantee and peace of mind that yes, I've been victimized by this person. That I don't know who he is, but Yawm al-Qiyamah, he will be brought forth. He will be brought for justice. That is one of the Yawm al-Qiyamah. That is one of the wisdom of Yawm al-Qiyamah. Now Yawm al-Qiyamah, one of the wisdom of Yawm al-Qiyamah is the day that Allah, is the world that Allah wants us to live for good. There is no end after that life. That is about that. Now coming back to another point, which is Yawm al-Qiyamah. What is the proof that Yawm al-Qiyamah will happen? Because sometimes we believe in Yawm al-Qiyamah. We hear about Yawm al-Qiyamah, but do we really believe in the Day of Judgment? I doubt it. That's why Yawm al-Qiyamah, see, when you go to Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah talks about the quality of muttaqun. And pay attention careful. Allah, when He mentioned the quality of muttaqun, also 5 qualities. You know, one of the quality of the muttaqun in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah didn't say they believe in the Day of Judgment. No. وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. They are certain about the Day of Judgment. Meaning what? Meaning they believe in it as they see it. How? Let me give you an example. Like you and I. Now you and I, we believe in the fire burns or we think it burns. Which one? Do we believe or certain that the fire burns, or we think it burns and sometimes it might not? We're certain that it burns, right? That's why when you see a fire, you start to stay away from it because you're sure about it. Now, do you sure about Yawm al-Qiyamah the same level? No. You know why? If you are, you and I will never commit sin. The way we will never, ever, even by mistake, put our finger in the fire. Do you ever see somebody say, I think it burns, but I'm going to try it anyway? Anybody does that? No. If you believe in that Yawm al-Qiyamah to that level as you believe your hellfire, the fire burns, you and I will not dare to even go close to any sin. And that is why Imam Ali alayhi salam, when they put even food, two different type of food, he says to Imam Hassan, Aturidu an yatula wuqufi bayna yaday Allah? Do you want Allah to put me in the fire? He sees, because he's certain about Yawm al-Qiyamah. So when he sees something, he then relates to it immediately. Not like you and I, we think, yeah, it's not a big deal. Allah Ghafurur Rahim. That is the level of Yawm al-Qiyamah. That is why Allah says, when you talk about muttaqun, He says, وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. You have to get to the level of not just only you believe. No, you have to be certain about Yawm al-Qiyamah. That is if you are on the level of muttaqun. Now, what is the proof of Yawm al-Qiyamah? Do we have any proof that Yawm al-Qiyamah will happen? That after we die, Allah is going to bring us back to life? Yes, we do. Many examples. I'll mention one example, and inshallah, I'll leave the rest to the next session, God willing. One of them example in the Quran about Yawm al-Qiyamah. Because sometimes we think, Qiyamah, yes, am I not? Is it true? It's not. We're thinking back and forth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like reading our minds. In Surah Al-Qiyamah, He said, La uqsimu bi yawm al-Qiyamah. I swear by the day of judgment. Wala uqsimu bin nafs al-lawwama. I swear by the self-accusing soul. Now here, brothers and sisters, Allah is talking about the Qiyamah, and then He's talking about the nafs. What's the relationship? Qiyamah is Qiyamah, and nafs is a human being, right? Good. There's a relationship. What's the relationship? See, your nafs al-lawwama is a nafs that accuses you when you do something wrong. Right? Something you did wrong, you sit down, you start to tell yourself, I shouldn't have done that. I know better. Why did I do this? Right? That's nafs al-lawwama. Allah said, this question yourself is like a small court. Right? Allah created inside you. And this court inside you indicates about a bigger court, which is Yawm al-Qiyamah in front of you. If this exists inside you, that you do something wrong, no judge, no any prosecution, but you sit yourself in your own house, you start to question yourself, why did I do this? I shouldn't have, should I apologize? You own your own judge of yourself, you own account yourself. Allah said this internal judgment indicates about the bigger one, Yawm al-Qiyamah, which is La uqsimu bi Yawm al-Qiyamah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَيَحْسَبُ الْإِنسَانُ أَلَّا نَجْمَعَ عِظَامَهُ. The human beings think we are not going to bring their bones back after they die. Like in Surah Yasin, that man who came and brought the bones of his father and then smashed them together and said to the Prophet, do you tell me that these bones will be brought back to life? Allah said, yes. Allah said, no, listen careful. Not only are we going to bring your bones back, Allah said, Bala qadirina ala an nusawwiya banana. Your thumbprint, which is different from every human being, Allah said, will bring it back again the same as they are. You wondering about it? Let me take you to the Quran al-Kareem. For those of us who might be wondering, Yawm al-Qiyamah will happen or not, Allah said, we have shown you many examples. People who die and were brought back to life in this world. One of them is in Surah Al-Baqarah, Uzair. When he was traveling, أَوَ كَالَّذِي مَرَّ عَلَى قَرْيَةٍ وَهِيَ خَاوِيَةٌ عَلَى عُرُوشِهَا قَالَ أَنَّا يُحْيِي اللَّهُ هَذِهِ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا فَأَمَاتَهُ اللَّهُ مِئَةُ عَامٍ ثُمَّ بَعَثَ. Uzair was one of the servants of Allah. He was traveling on his donkey. As he was traveling, he saw a dead town. Everybody's dead. Animal and humans and everybody. He didn't know what to do. He looks around and he says, Ya Allah, all these people will be raised Yawm al-Qiyamah? Allah say, are you shocking? Are you doubting? Allah sent the angel of death, say, okay, if he's doubting, take his life right there. The angel came, took his life. He died also right there, along with the deceased. Now you're wondering, now you're one of them. For how long? After years and years, Allah sent the angel of death, give his life back. Allah gave him life back. He came back to life. Allah asked him, Kam labithta, how long were you here? Ya Uzair. Uzair said, Yawman aw ba'da yawm, like one day or less than a day. Allah said, no, Ya Uzair. Unzur ila himarik, look at your donkey. Because he was riding his donkey. Allah said, look at your donkey. He turned and looked, the donkey was nothing but bones. Allah said, okay. Every day, if a donkey dies a day, it's not turning to bones. Then Allah said, Wanzur ila ta'amika wa sharabik. Look at your food. Because he was carrying food with him. You know what is amazing? The food and the water did not change as it was for 100 years. You think you have a better refrigerator? Allah made the best one. He placed the food in there for 100 years and it was as it is. As Uzair was carrying, nothing happened to it. Quran said, Lam yatasanna, lam yataghayyar. Nothing changed. But the donkey couldn't survive for 100 years. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Uzair, Ya Uzair, unzur ila hamarik. Now you wonder how we're going to bring people back to life? Allah said, look at this donkey, how are we going to do it? How are you going to do it, Allah? Allah said, Ya Uzair, in Allah's word, today's word, sit back and relax and watch the show. Uzair was sitting, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said him, no, انظر إلى حمارك كيف ننشزها لحما كيف نقصها. Look at, we're going to do the part one. Those scarred bones, Allah will bring them together and it will be skeleton as you watch. With one switch, one press, right? When you play a button, play, right? One tap, push, which Allah's word, kun, right? Kun. Allahu Akbar. These scarred bones, nobody tells them, they started coming together. In less than 1 second, Uzair said, I saw the skeleton of my donkey standing in front of me. Allah said, this is part one. The movies are part one, part two, right? Allah said, that's part one. Part two! ثُمَّ نَكْسُوهَا لَحْمًا. Allah said, now we're going to bring the meat back to where it used to be. Allah said, also press the second button, play. Kun! And was Allah, and was of Allah. Then Uzair was sitting, he saw meat was coming from the dirt. He turned into the meat, fresh, coming through the neck, to the back, to the legs, to the everything. In less than a second, he saw his donkey standing right there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, the third part, Ya Uzair, now we're going to send the ruh in it. Then the ruh came. Uzair looked, and he could spot everything about his donkey is there. When he saw this, I said, أَعْلَمُ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. Now I know Allah has power over everything. That is Yawm al-Qiyamah. If you and I, Luqman, inshallah, and I'll end this with this, Luqman al-Hakim was telling his son, he said, my son, listen careful. In case you're doubting about death, he said, think about your sleep. In case you're wondering, Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah will bring me back. And he said, think about waking up. The way you go to sleep and you don't know anything that around your surroundings. I said, that's the same thing about death. Suddenly you lay there 2 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. Then suddenly you jump out of nothing to wake up. Allah said, Luqman said, that is the way we're going to raise. Allah's going to raise Yawm al-Qiyamah too. You and I, we dying and waking up every day. But we don't even stop to think about it. And Allah called sleeping death in Surah Al-Zumar. Allahu yatawaffa al-anfus allati fi manamiha. Allah said, we take the life of all the nafs of those who are sleeping and those who are dead. فَيُمْسِكُ الَّتِي قَضَى عَلَيْهَا الْمَوْتِ. The one who are really dead, Allah said, we keep the ruh there. فَيُرْسِلُ الْأُخْرَى. The other one was sleeping, Allah said, we send it back to their body. إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ مُسَمَّى. Till the time that has been designed for them. That is one of the examples about Yawm al-Qiyamah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to believe in Yawm al-Qiyamah. But what is more important? To prepare for it, Ya Rabbil Alamin. Allah help us to prepare for that day, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We have only for 5 minutes for questions because it's Quran. Maghrib time is 8 o'clock. So we can, maybe after the Salat, we can have some more questions. So anybody has any questions?
We see in some places in Quran, it mentions about some people who have already been, entered the Surah Yasin. There is this story about a person who was killed and he went directly to the
Yes.
What was the process that these people have?
See, at Qiyamah, we have two kinds of Qiyamah. One is called Qayamat al-Sughra and the one is called Qayamat al-Kubra. There is a minor Qiyamah and a major Qiyamah. The minor Qiyamah is after we die, Alam al-Barzakh. In Alam al-Barzakh, there is hell and then there's heaven there too. That is the heaven and the hell that Allah is talking about. It's called Qayamat al-Sughra. But the Qayamat al-Kubra, that will not happen to anybody unless every one of us died and we get resurrected again. Because in that world, no one will enter heaven before the Holy Prophet. He's the first one. And Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, they will be the first one to enter that heaven. But in Alam al-Barzakh, it's like, to give you an example, it's like when you go to a restaurant, they bring you appetites, you keep warming your mouth until the real food comes. Alam al-Barzakh, it's like you get the appetizer, waiting for the real food, which is Yawm al-Qiyamah. Whether it's a mu'min or kafir, you get a bad food for a kafir and a good food for a mu'min. Yes.
I have a very strange question.
Yes.
I always think about, the qabr and the grave. And the thing is, like, I'm personally very claustrophobic, so I always wonder when I die, will I still have this feeling? Because I'm going to be in a very small space, it's all closed up, and the feelings are going to be there.
Yes, the feelings will be there.
Yeah, that adds to my problems.
No, inshallah. No, I mean, not in that.